Hey everybody, it's Patrick. It is Tuesday. On Tuesdays I talk about long hair. Before I get started on this week's topic, I wanted to thank a fellow YouTuber. He's a fellow long hair YouTuber. His name is Mark. He has a channel called The Pirate Life, and Mark asked me to make a video for his channel about growing out long hair as an older man. I was happy to do so, and this Sunday he uploaded a video. I'm going to try to link the video right here. Hopefully it will show up. If you want to click through on that, that will take you to Mark's channel, the video that I did for him. Also check out his channel. His channel is really great. He covers a lot of topics that I don't, which is more about style, about styling your hair. He also covers a lot about fashion. He went on the road with a musician for quite a while, and he had some vlogs about that. So he has a really interesting life, and his vlogs, his style tips, and he's talking about growing out an undercut, which is the topic I covered last week, but he has more experience with it because he had a really epic undercut that he is in the process of growing out, and now it looks really great. So definitely give him a check if you haven't seen him before. If you have seen him before, you know how awesome he is, so check out his channel. Today I wanted to cover a topic that I get questions on all the time. This is something that I get from guys who have been growing out their hair. Usually after they hit about the 6-month mark, they start to notice that their hair is shedding a lot more than they expected. I get panic-stricken emails or instant messages or private messages, even comments from guys who think that they're suddenly going bald because they're seeing a ton of hair in the shower, in their brushes, on the sink. They're not used to seeing this hair, and so they think that there's something wrong, that their hair is growing, is falling out, and that this means that they're not going to be able to keep their long hair because suddenly they've started the balding process. Now, while it might be true that you might start losing your hair, I don't think that it coincides with you growing your hair as much as these people tend to think. Guys are really not used to the shedding process being so visible to them. So I wanted to do a quick little demonstration to show what's going on, and then I'll cover a couple of topics about why your hair starts shedding and why it happens in the way that it does, that you notice it where it does. I covered in an earlier video how much hair we lose each day, and that's quite a bit of hair, and it's not really noticeable to guys with shorter hair as it is to anyone with longer hair. I've got my example that I used before, which is we lose probably about this much hair each day. Now this hair is not even close to the length of my current hair, but even at this length, which may be about the length that you have if you're at about 6 months or if you've just started growing out your hair from a shorter hairstyle, if you see this much hair all clumped up together, or you manage to gather it up, or if you find it in your drain, which is one of the things that you start to notice when you have long hair, that's going to look like a lot of hair to you. And you may think, well, I didn't lose this much hair before. I would have noticed that. Well, if we take exactly the same amount of hair, this amount of hair, it's really hard to see when I do this, but if I cut that, I'm going to try to cut that now. I'm going to gather that up, the cut hair. Now I'm going to try to show that to the camera. I'll bring that right up to the camera. Do you see? That's the same number of hairs, but they're much shorter. And if I just showed you this and I said, oh, look at all the hair I've lost, that doesn't look like a lot of hair. If you then, and that's all gathered up together, if you spread it out, and I realize it's blonde, it basically disappears because it's just shorter hair that has, it's just much harder to see. This also is hair that can go down the drain. It doesn't get caught in your hair drain in the drain cover like long hair will. It doesn't tangle up in your hairbrush. If it's spread out along your vanity, along the top of your bathroom sink, you're not going to notice it. You can just wipe it away. So that's something that's going to be difficult to see. So one of the things that you're going to notice when you're growing your hair out is that your hair is going to be much more visible, especially as it falls out or gets or it starts to get tangled in your brush or breaks at a certain place. And so don't really panic, really honestly, don't panic that you're losing a lot more hair, because you're not. You're losing the same amount of hair, but the hair just is much easier to see. Another thing that you have to pay attention to is the fact that since you are not cutting your hair every single month or once every couple of months like you would when you have shorter hair, a longer hairstyle means that your hair is older. It's going to be, you know, my hair is now down here is getting close to 3 years old, whereas near at the top of your head, it is much younger, basically. So you have a lot more time for this hair to fall out, and this hair can get more brittle towards the end. Newer hair has much more structural integrity. It has much more of a chance to get caught on things. Short hairstyle, if you run a brush through your short hairstyle, it's generally not going to get caught, depending, of course, on the texture of your hair. If you have curly or kinky hair, it's going to probably have different effects when you try to run a brush through it, but you probably have a different styling routine than I do. But when you run a brush through it, it's not going to wrap around the bristles of that brush and then be pulled out. It's also not going to become as brittle when you wash it, when you dry it, when you are running your hands through it, or any of that sort of thing. So you have much more of a chance of getting more hair showing up in your hands when you're washing it, or just showing up on your brush. So that's a factor as well. Now, one of the questions I got, which I thought was really interesting, was why do I notice so much hair in the shower where I don't notice it anywhere else? And I would say it's probably because you're losing a bit more hair in the shower. Now, why is that? Seems kind of counterintuitive. Well, when you're showering, you are actively agitating your hair, right? So you're getting it wet, which makes it more elastic and more brittle. It will stretch, and then it'll stretch to a point where it'll break. It's also being agitated by you moving your hands across your head, by the water hitting it. All of that is building up just traction on your hair that makes it fall off. So as you run your hands through your hair, all of your hair, it's going to start coming out. And the water also adds some friction to your hands, which means that it's going to also fall out, and you're also going to see it in your hands. So this is something that is definitely going to mean that you're going to see more hair while you're in the shower. Think about it like, why do you see more lint in the dryer? You might be shedding all of this stuff off of your clothes, but it really doesn't, just hang out on your clothes until you get it agitated, and then it suddenly goes through the dryer vent. Or if you have one of those, if you've ever seen one of those little mesh socks that you put on your on the hose that comes out of your washing machine, you see that gets filled with lint, and you say, well, why is this all just coming out in the wash? It's because why would it come off any other time? Same with your hair. When you're washing it, you're going to start getting all the stuff that just will stay there until you do something about it. So don't be freaked out. Don't think that, oh my God, I'm washing my hair way too hard, or I'm using something that's destroying my hair. If you're seeing clumps, if you suddenly start seeing bald patches in your head, maybe look at what you're washing it with. But if it's a commercial shampoo, commercial conditioner, probably isn't going to cause too much damage that you're going to start all of a sudden losing your hair. So don't panic. That's the main thing that I want you to come away with this is, don't panic. If you're growing your hair out, you are going to see a lot more shedding. And shedding, I made sure to practice saying that because it sounds like another word that I try not to curse too much on my channel. I don't think I curse at all on my channel because I want it to be for everybody. But shedding is something that's going to be much more noticeable as you grow your hair out. Thanks so much for joining me. I am here every Tuesday. I talk about long hair. I also have other types of videos on my channel, and if you came over here from the video that I did for Mark, you might have seen one of my other types of videos, which is either cooking with friends who are puppets, or George, who is a cat who He's a puppet, but I don't like to tell him about that. He talks about self-esteem, but I am here every Tuesday talking about different long hair topics. I generally talk about the science behind long hair. I'm not a scientist, but I like to go into the actual reasons why your hair behaves the way it does and why different products or different styling techniques might have some sort of an effect on your hair. So if you have any questions that are unanswered that might be on other channels, you can just leave it in the comments below and I will try to find the answer for you. I would love it if you would subscribe and just keep up with the updates as they happen. At any rate, I really appreciate the fact that you stopped by my channel, and I will see you again next time.